Welcome everybody to Eye of the Serpent Tarot for another pick a card reading. So today we're looking at dragon power again. I do this every once in a while because I happen to be very strongly connected to and really care about dragons as a mythical beast or as a guide energy or whatever you want to say about it. And I was inspired to do this by just having purchased a beautiful new deck called the Dragon Rider's Oracle. You can see 3 of the cards there from it. It's a really unique idea. It pairs a dragon with some sort of celestial being or mythological being and so forth to bring you a message from both together. Very intriguing. And so what I felt that it could do is here with the choice is a pairing that shows something about your spiritual dragon power, what that actually is, and a kind of a messenger and message that connects and aligns to that for you. And then underneath each of these, there's one other card from the deck, which will be more your everyday, day-to-day dragon power. Because I think we kind of have that energy and that power and that strength, both spiritually, and then we also have it in what we do day to day, the things that we would defend, the things that we would stand up for, the things that we would pursue with the most degree of sort of intensity and so forth. So that's what we're trying to look at. I don't know if you can hear the dog barking in the background. It seems to be fairly intense itself at the moment. I feel very sorry for this dog that lives nearby. It's always left outside. So if you do hear the noise, I'm not sure if the microphone picks it up, but please bear with it and feel empathy for the dog just like I do. Okay, so that's basically what we're going to be looking at. We'll use different oracles as well as tarot to look at the energy, but that's what we're trying to explore. What is both your spiritual and your earthly dragon power? How could we portray that using this deck and other information, and how can you best use that for your highest good? So you can, of course, go to whatever pile you normally go to. If you do just choose on the basis of the number, you can go to more than one, and you may have more than one dragon energy around you, either spiritually or materially. All of that's up to you. But possibly to help, these were what I asked Spirit for each pile for the spiritual dragon energy. So for pile number 1, we have Melahel, and I'm not going to be able to pronounce this correctly, I don't think, Chadlu. And I'm sure that's not pronounced correctly for the name of the dragon. Card number 14, if numbers matter to you. For pile number 2, we have Ormiak and Dub, pile number 17. And for pile number 3, not pile number 17, card number 17. And for pile 3, we have Ceres and Bond, card number 1. So if any of that helps draw, then you know that's your dragon and your energy. But once you know what reading or readings you want to go to, I have the timestamps in the description box below, and I'll see you there. Welcome pile 1 to your reading. So you came to the reading with Melhalel and the impossible to pronounce Chamhachadlu dragon. And that is your spiritual energy. We also have Afriel and Beleza as your material. Now, one of the first things that's interesting about this is that not all of the companions of the dragons in this deck are angelic, but for you, they both are. This would suggest to me you have a very strong connection to the angelic realm, whether you're conscious of it or not. And not just in your spiritual work, but also in your day-to-day, though it's manifesting in a different way. In fact, the spiritual seems to be a process or a transformational energy that leads to the birthing and the new and the beauty of what you can do in the day-to-day, because Melhalel is an angel of clearing out sort of negative energy, healing and so forth. There's a very strong healing energy to this. And so spiritually, you are a healer, or you are very used to the cycle of healing and allowing that energy to come through. It says, Melhalel has spoken, I am the light in the darkness, I will guide you back to divine love. All lower energy must bow before my power. So this is like a clearinghouse energy, I feel. And then what's interesting is that Afriel and Beleza, Afriel is an angel of inspiration, curiosity, the new, all the sort of things that someone creative or someone trying to bring something new and innocent in. And Beleza is a female dragon that basically the name translates to beauty. This says, a fresh wind is blowing into your life. Believe in your divine guidance and recognize all the gifts along your path. So I feel like these two are around you at the moment with their dragons and representing your dragon energy as the rebirth of the new and the beautiful and the creative in the material world after a spiritual healing. If I look at the book for the message, I want to read you the message from the dragon because we're particularly talking about the dragon power here. So from Melhalel's dragon, and this is, they say it's the divine source of all being, assigned a dragon to this angel so he could serve incarnated souls with even greater power. The name that I can't pronounce means power through light. So this is shedding the light on things, bringing higher vibrational energy, healing in that kind of way. The message from the dragon is, I bring you light with explosive power. I will free you from all hardship and adversity. Who among you is not worthy of the most beautiful and the highest of all things? With what lie about yourself have you made a pact? Let go of false beliefs about yourself and face me. I will teach you to see, to recognize your exalted light. You deserve no less than paradise. So I feel as though there's almost, for some of you, a reclamation of innocence, curiosity and creation coming out of this. This would suggest to me that there is some healing that you need for yourself, and there's also a healing power that you have in connecting to that dragon energy to also help others. But I feel with this, as I say, because this is about sort of creativity and new ideas, that you manifest it not so much necessarily as being a healer per se, but through creative work, new ideas and that kind of energy. So for Beleza, as I say, which means beauty, there is also a message. So let's read you that message. This is from the dragon that is with Afriel. Do not allow yourself to be paralyzed by duality. Be aware that your consciousness cannot conceive of things that have no polar opposite. You could not recognize light as light without the contrast of darkness. You could not feel tension without relaxation. You are here on earth in order to develop the opportunities and skills that are inherent within you. We will guide you on the path of knowledge, each step bringing you closer to your divine potential. Meditate and look within you. So I think that the combined message is this clears out what needs to be cleared so that you're at the best vibration spiritually. But it doesn't, in and of that, destroy the darkness. It just makes you aware of the darkness, aware of it, aware of its proper balance, the proper way to use it, so that you can then create something in the material world that can reflect the duality but is not imbalanced. So I feel as though you're a bit of a spiritual warrior as well. I feel like what you bring into the world is to recognize the darkness and its purpose and its function, but not let it overwhelm something. So you would not be likely as a creative to just dwell on the sort of the darker or the lower energy, but you would recognize it. You would have a nuanced approach to things. And it doesn't have to be classic creativity either. It could be anything. There's something here about balance, symmetry and beauty in the way that you manifest your dragon power on earth. But spiritually, it's constantly clearing out the capacity for darkness to overwhelm the light so that you stay in the light. And even look at the coloring here. What interests me, we've got the green here, which makes me think of the heart chakra. And it's like the darker energy of that cleared out by the lighter energy. It's like understanding the balance of the heart leads to almost a more spiritual thing. What's interesting for you is that in a way, what feels more like what would be in the material is in the spiritual realm for you, and what feels like it would be more in the spiritual realm is in the material. So even you flip the duality in some way, even within the duality. So there's something about, whether it's a kind of connection to earth angel energy or something like that, there's a kind of you flip the coin in a way that frees the energy and that creates something new. What I want to do is I want to draw a couple of astrology cards just to see a little bit about how this moves from the spiritual to the material in a little bit more detail before we look at the tarot for you. So the spiritual energy is connected to the ninth house. That makes sense. What you believe, what you would teach. You may in fact be creating things materially to teach. You may have an idea or a concept of teaching others, bringing a more refined and spiritual philosophy. You may manifest some of this power and ability in institutions that are around teaching in some way, or in your own sort of messages that you would teach with others. So there's something here about philosophy, concepts and so forth. Then when it's being manifest in the world, we have Chiron. It is about healing. Okay, so you may literally be a healer given that. I felt this was more moving to something creative, but I feel if you are doing something that is about healing, then I feel that it is manifest somehow in something creative as well. So it's a modality or a way of teaching or a message that has a creative side that brings in what is beautiful, that brings things into balance. But it's a philosophical concept that heals in a creative and new way. Having understood and seen the shadows at the spiritual level, understood them almost philosophically, so that then you can integrate them in the material world in a way that is healing and in balance. So if you are literally a healer, then you are definitely following your dragon power on that level. But it doesn't have to be that you're literally a healer. As I say, it could be something creative in some way. So let's get a little bit more information. We're going to, firstly, with the tarot, look a little bit more about this energy, your spiritual dragon, and then we're going to look at your material dragon energy, and then we're going to see how we can combine them best, or how you would combine them best for your own unique power. So around the spiritual dragon energy, we get the Lovers reversed, Strength reversed, Nine of Wands, and Auspicious, a different or an additional card. That's interesting. And then in the material, I'll just put out each and then we'll have a talk about that. In the material dragon energy, we have the Page of Cups, the Death card, the Three of Wands, the Two of Wands. Okay. So one of the things I would say about this is I think there's a strong thing here about relationship. I think that whether, as I say, you're a literal healer, if you are a literal healer, I feel like it's more around relationship issues, therapies and so forth, dealing with the light and shadow, the darkness, the light, the balance and so forth that's necessary within relationships. Because it's sort of showing up the first card for both. In this, we've got the Lovers reverse. Here we've got the Page of Cups. This is where things are out of balance relationship-wise. So your spiritual dragon energy identifies that and where it's causing weakness, where the strength, where it almost needs to have the strength, the fire of the dragon breathing strength back into it, so that something can be completed, something can be understood, something that was meant to be good becomes better or becomes all that it could be. With Auspicious, I definitely feel as though it's saying that even when for you there are relationship issues that test your strength, test your spirituality, test your beliefs, it's all towards building almost your strength, your capacity to sort of move through, your capacity to, as this card talks about, clear the energy, clear the field. The Nine of Wands to me feels almost like the most important card there. This is about the fiery energy of your dragon energy at a spiritual level, gives you the second wind when things are difficult. You have a kind of almost a natural philosophical understanding of that and how to clear that energy and refill the tank almost to be able to come out with what it is you're trying to come out with. Now, this doesn't mean every relationship you ever have is going to be perfect. Sometimes to do that, to clear the way, you'll understand you need to move away from a relationship. So there's a wisdom that comes to this. The ninth house is a lot about wisdom, and that's part of what makes this auspicious. But it is definitely about the balance of the will, the energy, the power, all of that kind of thing, and the passion with where other people may take this out of balance. So that's the energy of healing that you are particularly focused on a spiritual level, which then in a material level, we have the Page of Cups, helps you on a material level to find what your heart really wants and take back the power to make the decision. Do you move forward with people or do you move forward on your own? You could do one or either. But you do it with a wisdom. You start with the wisdom of a healed and balanced energy to bring something new in. It's definitely around things like passion. If it's not in a relationship, then this is something very creative. And that is possible with the energy of creativity and curiosity that we have with that dragon energy. Could happen on both levels. I feel that for you, relationships are the biggest teacher for you both personally and also philosophically. So sometimes just going through that sort of process and clearing out what you don't want in relationships, what sort of bogs you down, and to move towards the choices that you do actually gives you the creative input not only to move towards the right relationship but also to maybe create what you want to create in the world, to trigger this auspicious energy. So I think there's a direct and easy logical through line between these. The two dragon energies are not operating in a different terrain. They're just manifesting in a different terrain. So the dragon energy at the spiritual level is kind of philosophic. It's first principles thinking, and it's clearing the energy. At the sort of material, it is seeing the healing truly occurring by the clarity in what you want and where your passion is and where you are re-energized. It's almost going back. It's like this is your dragon energy here clicks in when you've reached near the end of something, but to truly get what you need, it clears the way, takes you back to the beginning so that you take back the driver's seat and move forward. And if you're helping others, it's like you could take them back to the pivotal point that something occurred so they can understand it, make a clearer choice and move forward again. So let's just get some cards for how, for you, this becomes your unique power, because these are the sort of dragon energies of these two angels. But how does this combine to be your unique dragon power, pile one? Seven of Pentacles, Two of Pentacles, Two of Swords reversed, Hanged Man, Three of Cups reversed. It's all about choice. You know, we've got the two twos there. We've got another two there. There's a lot of two. This is choice. You can only do choice if you understand both sides of something. If you understand the higher and the lower vibrational energies at the higher level, the duality that we exist with in the material world. There's something about choice. Your healing energy for others and for yourself is in understanding the nature of choice. And it's making healthy, good choices that can grow, even if they take time, whether this is in relationships, materially, whatever it is. And feeling comfortable to do that, even when you don't have all the information that you would like to have. Also feeling comfortable slowing things down until you get that information if you need. And sacrificing anything emotionally that is no longer taking you forward. I think for you, actually, your dragon power is sort of an understanding of timing and sequencing. And that might sound like a strange thing to say, but I feel that you have because you do understand at a spiritual level the sort of higher level and the lower level frequencies and what you would or wouldn't want to use and how you would or wouldn't want to use it on almost a philosophic level. In the material world, you can see the duality. You don't deny it. You see it. But that allows you quite early in the piece, like more often than not, way before you get to the Nine of Wands, you're going to see on a material level when something isn't developing the way that it should. You have this sense of growth and sequencing. So using that, taking that power to always be able to go back to first principles and rethink it when you get triggers. So I think this is showing you the things that you see as a trigger. So a trigger may be that on a spiritual level you feel a bit exhausted. There's something that's going on here where the energy isn't really taking you. What is blocking that? That takes you back to the beginning. And then you say, you know, am I happy with the choices materially here? Oh, there's something I don't know. What is that telling me? I'll go back and I'll rethink this. I'll look at it on a ninth house level. Does this fit with my way of looking at the world? So that may be one thing. There could also be a thing where the material world seems to be slowing things down. Why is that happening? What needs to be removed or unblocked within myself or the situation? The other thing that can trigger it is when there is discord between you and other people that you care about, when there doesn't seem to be a kind of mutual excitement. So I think you're like one of those people who, whether it's if you did this in some sort of therapy, you would be very good at finding the pivotal points, choices and patterns that block growth. If it's for yourself, you see it where the sort of pathway that you're on has got blocked, you're not going to turn away and pretend it isn't happening. You're going to look at it so that you can move forward. So I think there's a precision, there's a connection of the broad philosophical light on the hill with the material duality that you deal with. And there's a kind of a stoic understanding of the world that allows you to not get caught up in the ego and just keep blindly moving forward. You're able to go back to first principles whenever you need to. And that's a very, very powerful thing. Let's see a little bit more about the mystical side of it. So we're going to look at the mystical side first with the White Owl Mystic deck, and we're then going to use some astrology around that, and then we're going to look at it from an everyday level with the Everyday Oracle, and we'll look at some astrology around that. So firstly, a couple of cards extra around the mystical energy, this sort of philosophical understanding of vibrational energy, and how things have to align with that. If they don't align with that in some way, what you're trying to manifest will not come out in a balanced way. So that understanding. So we have the October moon, and we have the August moon. So there's a lot about timing here, a lot about when is the right time to do things. The interesting thing about the order that they came out in, if we saw them as an order of what happens, it's very similar to this energy I'm getting. It's like this is communing in with spirit. And the thing that triggers it is looking at the harvest of what you have right now. So as I say, if you might have got a certain way down the path on something and then you feel blocked or it's slowed down in some way, instead of just going, oh, well, that is what it is, and then you move on to the next time, it's like you commune back with spirit and you look back. What are the particular points, the beats along this path? What harvest have you created? If this was the end of it, if this was all you were going to do with this relationship, with this project, with this job, whatever it might be, what would you have seen the harvest as being? And if that's not what you originally envisaged, then what were the blocks? Like, could you go back? Can you sort of go over the steps? Can you actually remove the block and take it further? There's a sort of a reflecting back energy. Just as it's interesting, it's like, I'm just trying to catch this. It's a very interesting energy with you. It's kind of, as I say, it's almost like for you, what you're like materially is more like what most people would think was spiritual, and what you're like spiritually is more like what people would think was material. And in the same way, the way that you move forward is you go back. I hope that makes sense to you. It's a very interesting energy. It's a very powerful energy, but it's unusual. Let's just get an astrology association with each of those. So with the October moon, which is the harvest, that's the harvest. The October moon, which is the communing with spirit. So at that sort of level, what are we looking at? Pluto in the 4th house, Cancer. Like, what does this mean right in your heart with the people that you're closest to and who you are at your core? The 4th house in your chart, if you know your chart, is the sign that is there, the sign that is on the IC, the cusp of the 4th house, is incredibly important. It's who you truly are within. Your sun sign is what you're developing into. Your ascendant is what other people see. The midheaven is your kind of career ambition. But your IC is who you are at home, and you have Pluto there. So this is being able to go into the darkness. This is being able to go into the underworld. This is being able to shift the energies. But again, it's kind of like for you, the way to come to the light is through the dark. There's something reversed in you. It's a power. It's not anything to be worried about. It's a power. It may be for you, either your home, family, what you were born into was not your direction. You almost had to go back to past lives to understand something. Or it may be that in some way there is a key to you around the home that you grew up in and something that needs to be released and so forth. And that may be a very strong sense from your dragon energy about releasing something from that. But it's certainly saying developing emotional resilience. This is a very resilient way of looking at things. It's very emotionally resilient to be able to go, I've gone so far down this path, but I'm prepared to reconsider it, and I'm prepared to shift, and I'm prepared to say when I'm wrong. A lot of people will do anything but admit that they're wrong, and as a result of that, they continually wrong. Whereas if you are able to shift with that, that is emotionally resilient. It's very, very powerful. But there's something like I feel like you're kind of a creature of opposites. So it's like when you're a child, you were like an adult. As you become an adult, you become more innocent and open and playful. It's like there's something in reverse with you. And as I say, this is a power. This is a dragon energy, and it's a spiritual one. So then with the August moon, which is the sort of sense of where you do have a harvest and you're looking at what have you created, and is it what you want to go forward with? We have Sagittarius rising. Is it free? Oh, look, yes, Sagittarius, the 9th house. Is this the grand adventures? Is this taking you where you really wanted to go? Like, I feel like for you, quite often you reach a particular point that many people would say that's successful, that's great, but it's only part of what you want to do. And it's sort of like you think, oh, okay, I've ended up here. What would I kind of go back slightly nuanced so I can get to the next mountain, and so forth? There's a big journey you want to be on here. But again, like in the opposites, you start sort of like with the smaller steps, but somewhere is the concept of the bigger journey. Like everything for you is also kind of in a mirror. That's what I'm sort of feeling. So the big picture stuff is here in the spiritual level, the big adventure, but it's only when you sort of feel, oh, okay, I'm at the harvest, I'm at the 9 of Wands, I'm as far as I'm going to go, that you have to go right back to the beginning and say, actually, no, there's more to it than this. So that's spiritually a very interesting energy. Let's have a look at about the energy, how it plays out materially. just in the everyday. So this is where you're starting sort of something new, you're creating something, you're healing yourself or others, and you're prepared to go right back to the beginning of the journey each time until you feel like you're really making the choices that align with your heart. We have chemistry, so it definitely will play out around relationships. Also like alchemical, there's an alchemical energy to you. And strength, yeah, and this is where strength comes. You have the strength to do this. Chemical reactions, you think about chemical reactions, sometimes they can be a bit plutonic and a bit explosive. Sometimes they can sort of stop something short in its tracks and you have to look at it again. Sometimes it's how you strengthen the connections to make the relationships work by always being flexible and open to what they're developing into and how they grow. Also maybe the patience, like you have a sixth sense about when you have chemistry, even when it's under the surface to start with. This is all understanding time and understanding growth and what is healthy growth. So let's see the astrology around that. So for the chemistry, we have the North Node in the 10th house in Capricorn. So there's something about this in your career. You are meant to do something about this in your career and who you are in the world. Be your own hero. Yeah, that makes sense. It's sort of like that's part of the healing thing, being brave enough to be able to go back to first principles whenever you need to. It means that you are heading towards doing something with this in the world and you could make money out of it. There's a growth potential. Like for some of this, as I say, it's going to be people who are kind of emotional healers and it's something they're going to do, that will make money for them. We also get, whoops, the card drops, so I'm just going to pause. Okay, Sun in the 2nd house, Taurus, yeah, strength in what you're going to create in this life. So this is about creating something real, creating it in a creative way, in a relationship way, in a business way, but it's about creating the life you want. Your Sun is heading towards, I want to create status, money, all of that kind of thing. This is definitely talking about something. Your power is meant to be done in a material way. It's meant to bring you the life that you want. It's meant to allow you to be on your own adventure. And I think it's meant to bring the right people to your pathway. This is why it's important to be able to go back and kind of recalibrate. If you're really trying to go towards your higher self and your hero quest, your grand adventure, you need to be ready to say, I can course correct. And if you really want to be able to own the outcome of something, if you really want the life that you want, you can't just stick to a path and just doggedly go with it. You've got to have flexibility. So I think your real dragon power, pile 1, is your flexibility and your capacity to go back, recalibrate and move forward. And that is a very, very powerful thing. Okay, so just to finish off, I just wanted this to be a fairly quick sort of reading. Just to finish off, we're going to get a couple of cards. Again, one for the spiritual and one for the material around the kind of magical energy that really incorporating and connecting with your dragon. And your dragon is a time traveler. Your dragon is a analyzer. Your dragon is a course corrector or a navigator. That's your inner dragon power. It's very, very powerful. So on a spiritual level, the magic associated with that, persuasion. Well, yeah, that makes sense. If you can see and know what energies need to shift and what aligns with the greater purpose and the greater direction, you're able to persuade others. It's not just you. This is why you could heal and teach others, I think. So you have a very persuasive ability because you're kind of unafraid. You can see the bigger picture. And then on a material level, release. You can release that which you need to release. You don't carry it. You don't say, I have to be right the first time and all the time. You can release it. You can move on. You can get other people to follow you because even though you, of all people, can say when you're wrong, most people see you as right, and you know why? It's because you can say that you're wrong, and you have the power and the self-esteem to do that. So I hope that resonates for you. I hope you enjoyed the reading. If so, please like the video and subscribe. If you care to share in the comments, I'd love to hear. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings. Welcome, Pile 2, to your reading. So you came to the reading with Ormiach and Dub, and Ormiach is an elven character, an elven leader, and connected with Dub, there is a connection here around understanding that which is out of balance or that which is missing or not really looked at. And possibly, and this is on a spiritual level, because there is an association of it with darkness in some way. Now, the interesting thing is that a big element of this and a big element of Ormiak is around friendship and connection to the right people. And when we look at this here, which is your dragon energy and sort of guide on a material level, we have Ashtar Sharan, which is like a starseed energy. This could suggest that those who've come to this are a starseed. Ashtar Sharan never says where he actually came from, but just imagine sort of somewhere in some other dimension. He is with Turbo, which is a dragon to create in you your connection back to ancient civilizations, to your beginnings, to starseed energy. But it's also, this is around friendship. This card tends to come up when friendship is an issue and friendship needs to be nurtured. So I feel for you, these dragon energies may be not necessarily always the dragon energy you have, but they are at this time. This has come through as a message for you to understand something about a key friendship or relationship. Now, it could be, does this relationship become something more? If you think about the energy here where there's sort of something that's missing or out of balance, it could be that it's a friendship that should be more than a friendship, for instance, and what is being denied is maybe the wands energy, the passion and so forth, or maybe the water energy, the heart. The message from the dragon, which I'll read to you, is the power of the four elements, earth, fire, air, and water, dwells within you as a magical entity, but one of these is only barely lived by you, if at all. In order to make progress on your life path and receive answers, it's time to consciously live and strengthen this element. Make this your priority. So we'll have a look with tarot in particular to see what element is either missing or is being indicated should be strengthened. But I feel like it's a clue. I feel like here this is saying the time has come for divine insight. Accept the darkness within you along with the light and follow the path towards wholeness. There is something out of balance, and these energies are with you to reconnect to that so that your dragon power on a spiritual level is stronger, so that it's more balanced, which will in turn impact a relationship in one way or another. Now, the message from the dragon that is with Ashtar Sharan, so this is more material, is once upon a time, many years ago, all the knowledge of Lemuria and Atlantis was stored in the skulls of my body. I now bring this knowledge to you, the people who are open to receiving it. Take in and absorb this knowledge of pure technologies, even if you are no scientist. Carry it in your light body, and you will one day pass it on to someone who can make use of us. Meditate, call Ashtar Sharan and me to you, and allow us to store this knowledge in your light body for a time. It would be a great help and an act of friendship towards the earth. So I'm feeling, though we're going to test it out with other cards, but I'm feeling as though this is saying that it's maybe actually the air element, because light technologies, knowledge, all that kind of thing suggests that that is something that in combined energy, there could be a lot of heart, there could be a lot of passion, there could be a lot of material energy, but maybe the idea, what is the idea that you're trying to do, the belief that you're trying to bring in, and how does that connect to other people, at least one other person, and it could be sort of someone who could be a lover, or it could be a great friend, or it could be friendship with, as I say, starseed energy, friendships that cross lifetimes for you that you're wanting to reconnect with. Let's get some astrology just to sort of see a little bit more about each of these elements. And I'm sorry about the light; it's very overcast here today. So around where something is out of balance, where one of the elements is out of balance, we have library. Yeah, it's got something to do with belief structures, and it's about social issues, diplomatic, gracious energy. So there's something here on a kind of spiritual level with this guidance to bring that into balance. The first principle of what it is that you're trying to do, the idea, the philosophy, or even how it connects to other people. There's definitely something about friendships, social groups, something like that. I think for you, this is a dragon energy. You're meant to be whole. You're meant to be balanced. You're meant to be connecting, say, to sort of, as I say, starseed or ancient lives, that kind of thing. But there's something here about the idea of this within a social framework that your dragon power is being focused on at the moment. So the energy around Ashtar Sharan and Turbo is Neptune. Okay, your psychic ability and psychic insights and psychic connection here, connecting to the social fabric. It's something to do with that. So this could be that you're meant to sort of find and connect with other people with this sort of energy. And that's what's been sort of missing for you. If you felt like, you're kind of like trying to get everything into balance to create what you want in the world and what you believe in has been hard, or to find your people, this is an energy to bring that in psychically, to go within, to see what needs to be done. And as it said, meditate, go within, make that connection. But it's got a social impact in some way. That's why friendship is important. So let's use tarot to get a little bit more information on this. So we're going to get some cards for the spiritual dragon power, cards for the material dragon power. Then we're going to see how they combine to be your unique dragon power, as opposed to elements of other entities that have brought dragon energy to you. So firstly, around the spiritual energy, where possibly the idea, the thought, the communication, the social aspect of this is the important thing to bring into balance, to be able to fully connect, I think, to who your people are. That's probably what this is talking about. We get Queen of Wands, Three of Wands reversed, Two of Wands reversed, Five of Swords reversed. Okay, right. And then when we look at the manifestation of this on a material level with your dragon power, we get Six of Swords reversed, Seven of Swords. Yeah, it's definitely about the mind. King of Swords, really about the mind. The Fool reversed. Okay. All right. So just bring this over so you can see it a little bit more clearly. You're a very powerful person, actually. This is what this is saying. And that is both a blessing and a bit of a curse as well. And this is what the dragons are trying to help you with. Because on a spiritual level, particularly creatively, passionately, you really know who you are. So you kind of know there's something a bit missing, but it's sort of like, how do I connect with others? How do I, without losing who I am? Because you very, very much know who you are. And I think there's almost a reluctance to shift or change on any level. Like, it's like, you don't want to have to shift what you believe. You don't want to have to shift anything. I think for many of you, like whether this is sort of something social, political, whether you've met someone that you're interested in, but you have very different beliefs, there is a side of you that is like, no, I know who I am. So how do I do that? But this energy, this dragon power is saying that, you kind of, particularly the fire energy, you need to kind of quell that a bit. There's sort of like the sense that, like, you can be who you are, but you're not going to make the connections to others unless you let go of some of that energy and allow probably more the sort of like the cups energy to come in, and maybe, the pentacles energy to come in around the sort of heart or whatever. But it's a decision you have to make, and it's a social decision, and it's something about your beliefs. So I think that your dragon power energy is coming up now spiritually for you and materially, because there's something about finding a new group of people, a new belief structure, a new community, or a new friend, but it's going to take a different way of looking at things. And you're capable of doing it. And in fact, your spiritual energy, your dragon power there is saying that's the thing that gets you more into balance. Yeah, you know who you are, but you're not moving it forward. You're sort of stuck just in that. You're sort of stuck almost in the, I realize who I am, I know what my power is. But then it's meant to connect with other people, and particularly to connect, I think, to people from past lives or past civilizations or even starseed energy. So really it is asking you to have a look at that and think about the social connection, I think, of your power, your dragon power energy. So then when we look at manifesting it, which is going within to connect to that, you have to be prepared for ideas and things to come up that aren't clear to you at first, that you have to almost negotiate with. You will get the clarity, though. It's saying it's there. It's not that you don't have this. It's just that you've kind of put it aside a bit. When you do this again, and when you connect in and you allow those light code energies to come in and you allow the thinking to come in, it'll come naturally. You'll know this is something you've done before. I think you may be, with that kind of energy with Neptune there and so forth, you may be sort of one of the people in spirituality that tend to think if you think too much, that's a problem. But what this is saying is that if you think too much, it is a problem. But if you don't think enough, that's a problem as well. The thing here is about balance. And what you'll realize when you allow that to connect in, when you connect to that and the sense of like, what is the belief structure here that allows me to connect to others, that you don't have to lose who you are, any of that, that you're actually very well developed with that as well too. And you know this terrain, but for some reason it's been like, no. And I suspect, maybe you were born into a family that didn't have the same lineage as you, or maybe you've sort of been around people politically or socially that have very different views to you. So you've kind of gone into being, I'm going to just be me and I don't care about what other people think, but it's too much fire. You need the air element as well. And interestingly enough, for you to sustain this, if you think about it, like fire needs air. It needs air to keep burning bright. So it's like, don't quell that. That's part of your power. So let's see if you actually understand that and you bring it together. And you really go back to like, what does this mean in a social construct? What does this mean in getting on with others? What does this mean in belief? How can I connect to the right people, the right friends, whatever it might be? Because you're at odds to some degree with people. You may quite often end up in fights that you don't even understand how you ended up in them, that kind of thing. There's something going on here. Let's see how your dragon energy and dragon power can combine for you uniquely to make this work best. The Chariot, the Seven of Wands, the Seven of Cups, the Ten of Pentacles reversed, the Nine of Pentacles. Okay, it's definitely about in the material world. This is moving from one group of people, one sort of family construct, one sort of job, whatever it might be, something material. Its time is done because it's not truly who you are. You might have been very successful with it. You might know how to navigate it really, really well. Or you might have just been, well, that's what I'm born into. That's what I've got to do. But there's definitely a sense here of letting go of that and finding a new community, a new material outcome. There's a shift going on here. This is why friendship, connection socially is so important. This is saying that, remember, the Chariot, moving forward, this is something you're destined to do, and it's all about balance. So balance is really important. But also remember, you can do this with speed. The two elements that are strongest in you, one that you are owning, which is fire, and then one which you are denying at this moment, but which is your other kind of fuel here, which is air. They're both the fastest energies. This will help you go quicker towards what you want. It will give you more courage to go towards and up your capacity to achieve. And it helps you actually start to believe in dreams that maybe you kind of cynically thought you couldn't have, you couldn't do. So this isn't meant to admonish you for thinking that you were above everybody or whatever. That's not really the energy I'm seeing here. It's a kind of almost a defiant, I will be who I am because of the constriction of a social group or a family or a workplace or something. But this is saying if you connect into your mind and you connect into that kind of light energy, you'll find your right place, you'll find your right people, you'll move forward, and those dreams are closer than you think. I think you do all of this actually to protect your heart, but your heart can be more protected by the dynamism of air and fire working together, but it's the air element you're denying. Okay, so let's have a look at the spiritual side, both with a couple of other sort of indications through an oracle and then also some astrology energy around it, and we'll do the same around the everyday and material. So around the spiritual, Pluto, wow, yeah. You're powerful, you are very powerful, and this is a transformative thing. You probably scare people a bit, to be honest, and maybe that's a consolation prize you've had, but you can be transformative on a social level as well too. And November moon, so there's a timing element to this as well. The interesting thing about this is it looks to me like to reclaim what your kind of belief structure, your capacity, you have to go through a kind of a time of the risk of being alone more, or the risk of loss, or something like that, because Pluto is going into the underworld, it is going to the depths, it is understanding all of that kind of thing, and the November moon is about being ready for cold or darkness. So this is not an easy step. There's dragon energy. It's not saying it's not easy to do this because you've kept yourself warm, all that wands energy with that sense of who you are. And you're not meant to lose that, but you do need to have a look at the loss that's associated with, like what you kind of almost created as a loss in yourself, and to see that, to be able to then work out why there's an imperative to get this into balance. I also feel as though for you, like this talked about meditation, this feels almost more like shamanic journeying or something like that, going really, really deep in to get to that. Ironically, to connect to something that's probably kind of upper world or something like that in shamanism, but I think you have to go down and within to your soul first. So let's just sort of see some astrology around Pluto and the November moon. So around Pluto, Mars in the 11th house. Yeah, there's some aggression issue around social energies. In Aquarius, I know there's I do think for this group, you've got a very powerful mind, all of that kind of thing. It's not that you don't, but it's kind of like it's been your defense and your sense of who you are. You've got to go really deep within and see what has that created as a lack for you, because there are great friendships, there are great connections you're meant to have. There are dreams you're meant to be able to access. You're slowing yourself down more than you should. You're getting captured in patterns or where you didn't feel understood, as opposed to finding those where you would. So there's something here, there's something about aggression. It's like it's a balance of belief and aggression or something that you do need to look at, pile 2. Bit of tough love, sorry. Then with the November moon, which is, preparing to look at that, to be able to go into it. Oh, God, we've got Pluto in the 4th house. So, yeah, what is true to you? A lot of you, this has got to, I don't think that many of you were in exactly the home that was the right home for you, or that you felt was understood you or something like that. There's a lot of turmoil and change and a lot of shadow energy around home life in one form or another. You also are a natural change agent with this, and it's getting a bit scary to people, but you've got to go in and do that yourself and do that work. It's there, you're ready to do it. The dragon power is there to help you with it, but it could be a bit tumultuous to do it. So give yourself a bit of time out, I would say. So then once you've sort of done that sort of energy, because it's to find your other power, you have a very strong mind, and to find your people. This is not just an exercise in doing it because you're too fiery or scare people. It's not about that. It's about, how do you find your people? How do you get the friendships that are good? So let's see the everyday energy around it. The tattoo, who are you? What body art do you have? What stories do you have about yourself? How would you want to express yourself? And what is your history? Tattoos in many ways show your history. So again, there's something about past life energy for you, I think. And the long bath, it doesn't have to be all unpleasant. Maybe you can do a lot of this sort of like meditating in a long bath, or clearing out the energy that isn't working, bringing in the ideal sort of energy. What would be the ideal feeling? That kind of thing. What would you want to create as your new story, as opposed to the story that you need to move away from because it's kind of isolated you? Let's see the astrology around that. So the astrology around the tattoo, the story, the narrative that you almost encapsulate. Aries rising, you're very fiery, very ambitious, all of those sort of things. And you are meant to sort of like be a new leader, all that kind of thing. You're kind of starting out with something. This is, this starseed sort of energy. That is who you are. It's not saying not to have it. It's saying to find the intellectual and social bridge to connect it to other people, so that you're more in balance and you're not feeling so alone. And the long bath is Sun in the 7th house, negotiate, Libra, balance. Yeah, this is all about make it fun, make it for yourself enjoyable, that you can negotiate, that you are smart enough, that you are strong enough, that you don't lose yourself and your propulsion and your momentum by doing this. This is about learning how to negotiate and take that power and that energy and that drive and create in it a community or a family or a relationship, whatever it is, in a way that is not scary to others, and a way that uses your power to negotiate and take things forward. So this is you starting to understand that power within yourself, as opposed to maybe just ambition, charisma, drive, energy, and as I say, what makes you a bit scary. So that's really, really powerful. Okay, so what we're going to do to finish off is we're going to look at a magical energy that your dragon energy brings you, both spiritually and then also materially at the moment. So spiritually, cleanse. Yeah, there's sort of something, it's interesting because that goes over to the long bath. I do think that what creates this sort of energy, because I feel like you're a very powerful person. You have a lot of drive, a lot of energy, a lot of charisma, a lot of ambition, a lot of creativity. You're also very smart, but for some reason you've kind of parked the smartness or the social aspect of that. So it's like cleansing out whatever made that happen, whatever separated you out from others, because you can actually use that same energy to connect to others and find the right people. But there is a kind of there's a hurt, or there's not snobbery exactly, but a kind of like, this is what makes me powerful. I'm just who I am and whatever. And that's fine, but you're not going to find your people if you do that. It's a bit lonely, I guess. So there's sort of a cleansing energy there that your dragon power can help you do, which I say connects over to the long bath over there. So then materially, yeah, your higher self. Actually, I think that's saying that your higher self at the moment needs to go and have the long bath and the everyday. Then it gets reconnected back and balanced. Like it's almost like you have to take time out. Maybe you are very, very ambitious and you're very, very sort of forward moving and you're very, very innovative and you're all those sort of things and people can't keep up. But you know what? To really find your people and to turbocharge all that, you need to kind of almost cleanse out the ego, to be honest, and then connect your higher self back to what it was that you were really trying to do in the first place. And that will connect you to the right people. So it's not, I don't say the ego to be judgmental. I think anybody who's very strong and powerful will have an ego. There's nothing wrong with that. But if it is isolating you, then it's not as pleasurable for you, really. And it also doesn't mean you won't get as much out of it as you would otherwise do. So I hope that this somewhat tough love message from the dragons, because you are very powerful, will connect you to your people, connect you in that sort of way that you do even more with what is your undeniable gifts and strengths, pile 2. Hope you enjoyed the reading. If so, please like the video and subscribe. If you care to share in the comments, I'd love to hear. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings. Welcome, pile 3, to your reading. So you came to the reading with Ceres and Bond. Ceres is a Roman goddess of fertility, the harvest, hearth and home, all of that kind of thing. So there's definitely a sort of sense for you in terms of your dragon power at a spiritual level, that there's been a lot of work that you've done, a lot of sort of development and so forth, and you were reaching a point of harvest, you were reaching a point of celebration and a sort of a sense of being at home with your spiritual self, I would say. This talks about abundance, variety and happiness are making their way into your life. The time of harvest has arrived. So you've definitely been doing a lot of work spiritually, and the sort of dragon energy to spiritual level is well fed, I think, and well developed and ready to bring a reward. Makes it very interesting then. And what we have here for the day-to-day, we have Lao Tzu, who is actually the creator of the I Ching. So is a creator of a divinatory system, but one that understands that to everything there is a season. There are sort of, within the I Ching is a sense, it's called, I think, the Book of Changes, amongst other things. Everything changes. And so things that can come to harvest will then need to fall away to the sort of fall and the autumn and that kind of energy. So everything is in process and is in cycle. And he connects with sunshine to keep the energy towards what is positive, to see the positive even in, growth cycles, bringing the harvest, then the fall, and so forth. There is a wisdom to this. So you've brought a wisdom. Your development has brought you a wisdom and a sense of time and changing. And I think that now that I've been doing these readings, I think that they're very much about the dragon energy around you at the moment, because this is, again, like one of the other readings, very much of its time, I think. There is sort of something that you've developed, you're ready to sort of manifest and bring a wisdom. Now this says be careful with your words. With some you can harm yourself, so speak with love and positivity. Allow your words and smile to be your adornments. So it's almost as though on a spiritual level, you have reached this harvest, you've developed. There's almost a kind of a cautionary pessimism with the I Ching sort of feeling over here, that in the material world, inevitably that means there's a falling away. And so therefore some of your beliefs and so forth with your dragon energy here, this is why we have the sunshine dragon, I think, is to bring you more positivity around that this does not mean inevitably that there is a fall that is a problem. You can maintain a harvest and then move to the next level. I think this is the message for you. So with Bond, the dragon that is with Ceres, the message is, close your eyes and step beneath my wings. I bring a powerful light which will crown all your visions and projects for the future with success. The time of ambiguity and confusion has now come to an end, and you have been given the gift of clarity. So, and there is a clarity in the I Ching, okay? That makes a lot of sense. Let my energy flow through your veins and feel the power of your liberated will. Now is the time for harvest, and with it come joy and laughter, which also fits with sunshine. This is meant to be a good time for you. But as I say, Lao Tzu understands the wisdom of change and the power of words. And there's something about the power of words here for you, like how you express what you have now, how you express it to yourself, how you express it to others. When we look at the message from sunshine, so the dragon here, it's a message to you. It says, you scintillate this world. You are the light that illuminates everything. There is no beginning and no end. All life and power manifest themselves in an eternal circle and in absolute majesty. Beauty in words opens doors full of light. Learn and be ready. Your sparkle is your gift to yourself. So whatever you have achieved here, it's something very golden. This feels very alchemical, like you've reached the kind of gold level on an alchemy sort of development. Is beautiful, is of the light, is to be spoken on with joy and with beauty. But I just feel with it sort of saying there that your words can also harm yourself, and with Lao Tzu being there, and as I say, the I Ching is probably of most of the divination systems, one of the most blunt, to be honest. It is really blunt about what is happening. There is a kind of an invitation here for you to take what you've achieved spiritually and turn it to the most scintillating, light-filled, positive energy without losing the wisdom of change, but finding how to put the positive spin on things. So I think you have a very powerful dragon energy at both levels for positivity, but an awareness of why it's necessary, I think. So let's see what we get with tarot. We're going to get some cards for a little bit more about the dragon energy spiritually, a little bit more about how it's manifesting in the real world, and then we're going to have a look at how that combines for your unique dragon energy. So if we're looking at the kind of energy of the dragons here that are with Ceres and Lao Tzu as representative of dragon energy that you have, then how does that combine for your unique dragon energy at this stage, pile 3? So spiritually, we get the King of Swords reversed, the Nine of Pentacles, Justice reversed, Six of Cups. Okay, this is telling me why there is the cautionary pessimism in the midst of all the beautiful light. And I'll get into this, but that's quite clear there. So then let's see in the manifestation. The Six of Pentacles, the Ten of Cups reversed, the King of Cups reversed, and the Four of Swords reversed. Just move these over a bit so that you can see them all on the thing. So, sorry, got them at a bit of an angle. What this is saying is that this harvest and this spiritual development was not easy. It was not easy. What has triggered that is something very unfair. You felt very alone, very much like you had to sort of look after yourself. You had to manifest for yourself. There's been an injustice. It could be from a family situation with the Six of Cups reversed, so it could go all the way back to there. It could be connected to some sort of family situation. You know, if you're in partnership and you have children, it could be anything like that. It could be in your career in some way, a contract. But there's something where you had to find your own internal resources because there was lies and injustice around you and a kind of a loss of innocence. So you have found this golden glory and beauty and how to still be fertile and how to still grow and how to be able to stand in your own strength. It's been hard won. That's why you connect so much on a material level with Lao Tzu. That's why you're drawn to something, which, as I say, is one of the more blunt divinatory modalities you can ever use. I mean, it's a beautiful one, but it's tough. It's tough love. So that is there, and you know it. But what this is saying, and why we have sunshine here, is that you have not lost your own generosity of spirit. For all that you were not treated generously, you have still remained a generous person. You can heal yourself and others where emotional energies, particularly around family stuff, there's a lot around family stuff, I think, but that kind of thing, you remain generous even in the face of that. And you are a healer. You're a healer by your nature as a result of that. This is asking you to come out more, not just to keep it to yourself. So the words of the generous words, your capacity to be kind and generous and nurturing and bring the harvest for yourself and others, even when you've been treated very unfairly, I think, is incredibly powerful. And it's inspirational to others. That even as I say, in the vicissitudes of life that the I Ching so clearly shows, that one can still retain that sort of sense. It's a very beautiful energy, I have to say, but it's hard won. So let's see what that means for your unique dragon energy. If this is a recognition on a spiritual level, you've done it tough, but you've come out with flying colours, and you now have the gravitas, but also the beautiful soul to be able to speak that, but you're meant to speak it. Stop. Don't give yourself or anybody else a hard time anymore. You can forgive. You can let it go. You can heal by doing that. But the main thing is to bring this sort of generous, beautiful energy forward. So how does that best manifest as your own unique dragon energy? Ace of Cups, your heart. Your heart is beautiful, Pole 3. Beautiful. Eight of Pentacles reverse, and you've mastered that on a level that few will do. Page of Swords, you're meant to communicate it. Devil reverse, release yourself and others from the material things that are negative and shadow-like. Death reversed, and release people from where they feel they don't have choice. You're a messenger. You're a messenger. This whole thing that you've been through, and the fact that you've retained that generosity of spirit in spite of that, which is truly inspirational. That's why we have the scintillation. Without losing the wisdom and understanding, that this is part of what life is. Your heart is beautifully open, beautifully calibrated for this world, because you have mastered this. You're not learning it anymore. This is saying you're at the harvest, like on a spiritual level, for kindness, generosity, healing of others. You have mastered it. You are a master. And I think it's largely in how you communicate with other people that this is meant to come out. Bringing a joy, bringing a charisma, bringing all of that in spite of what others may think are difficult circumstances or unfairness or something like that. You are truly inspirational. You are also a great cause of inspiration and liberation where people felt they didn't have a choice. So there's something, I don't know what it is, and I don't know at what level it is, but you are people who understand the depth of your heart and the beauty of your words and the incredible generosity of spirit that you have and the positivity you have in spite of that. They know your journey in some way. The more that people know your journey, the more it can be inspirational as well. There's something in things that have been completely unfair to you that you have risen above with wisdom and kindness and generosity that it's meant to be communicated. You're meant to communicate this out into the world in one form or another. No pressure on you, Pole 3, but I really think that even if it's just around your friends, family, community or whatever, but I think for many of you, this is an inspirational story. This is something, and like as I say, your heart's really, really pure. So what I realised is I didn't actually do two cards that I was going to do, which was connecting these two. So there must have been a reason why I didn't do that. So we're going to do it now. Like maybe I needed to see that first to understand this. So when we're looking at the astrology energy around the harvest, the third house, communication. Now you have to tell your story. So there is something here about communicating this harvest, this ability, what you've come through. And in the material world, the 10th house, that's, you're meant to be a communicator as your career. This is meant to manifest in your career. It's very, very beautiful. It's very, very much of the heart. But I think that most of the people who come here, you're meant to be a communicator in one form or another in your career, because what you bring is an openness of heart and generosity despite things, so that you can show people that it is possible to go through all of that and retain positivity and not to be drawn into a sense of being trapped or unable to decide. You are an inspiration, and you are meant to communicate that very, very strongly. Okay, so we also wanted to get a little bit more information on the spiritual and then on the everyday, both in terms of a couple of oracles to do with each of those levels, plus some extra astrology. So a little bit more about this harvest, what you've developed, how you've gone through this journey, what is involved in that. the March moon. So there's some timing energy around this. Doesn't necessarily mean anything you do has to be in March. It's just the energy of the March moon. And energy, yang, not wang, yang. So like action. There's meant to be action that comes out of this. It's not meant to be sort of something that you just contemplate. You're meant to act in some way around this. The interesting thing with the March moon is it's a time to illuminate what's been avoided. So I think it's knowing this and knowing how to balance that with your sort of sense, with the I Ching of change and so forth. So you're illuminating all of. I also think actually that you're actually quite humble. I think that's what this is telling me, that you've done a lot spiritually, but you'd be the last person to tell people that you were spiritually advanced. You'd be more interested in talking to other people about their spiritual advancement, but you actually have done a lot. So it's time to bring that out. It's time to be a little bit more assertive around that. So let's see the astrology around the March moon. Uranus in the 3rd house. Yeah, it's like inspiration. You are inspiration on steroids. One of your dragon energies is just you're so inspirational, you're so unique, you're a change maker, but you're a change maker because of your capacity to have gone through change, upheaval with dignity, with grace, with growth, and with kindness. It says a catalyst to ignite a change of perspective. This is sort of something to really understand. You are meant to get this message out. You're not meant to just be humble. And with the yang energy, we have Neptune in the 11th house. Yeah, so love for humanity. You have a great love for humanity. That's, even if you wouldn't do it for yourself, and to be honest, Polter, I don't think you would. I think you kind of go through this and you just go through the swings and roundabouts of life, and you have that sort of beautiful generosity of spirit, but you wouldn't take your story out because it'd be kind of like, well, it's just my story. But this is actually, if your love for humanity, there's something about your heart and what you do and what you could bring to others and how you could help other people change and break free of like what they have sort of like unconsciously caught themselves in by your message, and it's deeply spiritual. Do it for them if you won't do it for yourself. So let's see on an everyday level what we're getting. The hike. Yeah, there's a journey. There's a journey to go on. If you're going to start to get this message out, it's not something you do in one day. The takeaway. I think, it's interesting. I was about to say, look at the backpack. It's travel light. Don't take anything that isn't nourishing. Don't take anything that isn't going to really give you sustenance on the journey on what you're doing. There could be it might be even a balance around this. And I also think the takeaway can mean a couple of things to me. It can mean that what isn't nourishing, what you should not carry with you because it's not going to help you. It's not going to be real fuel for what you're trying to do. But I also think it can be sometimes, what is the takeaway from this? I think that maybe you could almost sort of say, this is the journey, but here are some of the key takeaways from it. That at the end of the day, the world is beautiful. The mountain is aspirational. Probably along the way, I'm going to find it a bit difficult sometimes, but that's okay. What's the takeaway at that point? What did I learn at that point? When I found that roads were blocked to me and things were not fair in the terrain, what did I learn? What could I take away from that? I think there's this is part of the dialogue within the message that you're meant to bring out. So let's see the astrology around that. So around the hike itself, the journey that we're talking about. Uranus again, this time in the 11th house with other people. This is saying don't go alone, actually. You've done it alone. Now you're meant to do this with other people. So don't hiding your personal identity. Don't do that. Who you are is the message. It definitely is. This is a kind of shy, self-effacing, humble group, which is lovely, and it goes with your lovely heart. But in fact, you're the exact person that people need to sort of hear the story of. And for the takeaway, Cancer rising, yeah, that you're very caring. This all comes from your caring. I really feel like the dragon energy here, your personal dragon saying I know you're not going to do this for you, but honestly, do it for others. Do it because you love other people. Do it because you really love humanity. That will give you the change in perspective. That will make you say, I can't hide away forever. I actually do have a message that would be helpful. It's not conceited. You're a very humble energy for an energy that has actually gone through a lot and achieved a lot, pole 3. So what we're going to finish with is just an extra element of your magic with your dragon power energy, both spiritually and materially, if you take on the advice of your inner dragon. So spiritually, intuition. Okay, this is like being on the hike. This is trusting your intuition. If you go back and you look at this and you look at how you've dealt with what was unfair and how you've come across it, you're going to really start to understand how strong your intuition is. This is a Neptunian energy as well too, and that you can trust your intuition in the steps that you take, what you manifest and you activate. Your intuition is very strong. And around the material, when you are actually, I think, bringing your message out in one form or another. Respect, yeah. Because you deserve respect. What you've done, and who you are. You're going to find a great deal of respect from other people. Respect for what you have to give, respect for the pathway. And look at this, we have the hike, the person going on their own. And then behind this, we have sort of someone who is sort of like kneeling before or learning from the person who's gone before. And you would probably almost instantly recoil from that and go, I don't want someone sort of bowing down to me. But the reality is it's not about that. It's about your shining, you're carrying two sort of flames there. So one for the other person as well. Always in balance. Understand you're worthy of respect. You're worthy of being listened to. You have a wisdom and you have a open heart. But you're very, very humble. But I do think that you're in a dragon. Your dragon power wants you to tell your story in whatever way you want to do it, pile 3. So I hope that I hear your story at some point. But for now, if you like the reading, please like the video and subscribe. If you care to share in the comments, I'd love to hear. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings.